So this book took me 3 weeks or so. Normally, I'm usually averaging a book, I don't know, probably a couple of weeks, I would say. It's a pretty long book. I would say it is. It is not easy to, I guess, read it in the sense of being it long and so much information. But amazing book. I read this book because I've heard novel Ravikant kind of several times mention David Deutsch. I don't know how to say it, but the beginning of Infinity, especially. There's also Fabric of Reality you wrote, but novel Ravikant was on point about this book and David Deutsch. The book, I'm actually now, just after finishing it, listening to it on Audible, because I feel like I didn't really maybe get, normal people get 7%. I would say I got maybe 5%, of the book. So I'm going to listen to it maybe a couple more times. I don't know if I'll read it, but definitely listen to it. Right now, listening it to again. But the point of David here is when he talks about beginning of infinity is about knowledge and what's knowable. It's always changing and it's always evolving. So, like the famous quote, science is settled. It's complete BS, essentially. Nothing is settled. Everything is changing. For example, at least I come across, right? Yeah, today, for example, coffee is good. No, it's not good. It's good. It's not good. So there's different researches going on. Some of that is by political or whatever business reasons. Studies not truly studied properly, just biased studies. And that happens all over, medicine, biology, anything. Climate, for example, climate change. This might trigger some people, but climate change, right? Climate or global warming, global cooling, now climate change. The problem with that is people are not there. What David basically is saying here is people are, whenever they think whatever reality or whatever facts now are settled and there's nothing else to be improved, that's where they're wrong. In anything and everything, there is infinite possibilities of knowing. Universe is vast. Heck, we don't even understand, I think 20, 30% of our biology, how our bodies act, how our brain, especially brain, how the brain functions. For most neuroscientists, still are not sure how the neurons do all the stuff they need to do. And that's David's point in every aspect. So, for example, one of the things he goes into, why are flowers beautiful? He goes into this explanation. Why do flowers seem beautiful? You can understand the insects or bees. Maybe the flowers are blooming that way because they're trying to attract the insects or the bees. But then he goes into no matter where the flowers are, humans can always spot beautiful flowers, even if they've never seen the flower before. Why is that? Because familiarity maybe might make you think that, certain things are beautiful, right? For example, each race, right? We see beauty differently, or each culture might see beauty differently because of the familiarity and potentially the programming, so on and so forth. But the flowers, if they've never seen the flower, but you still find it beautiful, why is that? Right? So explanation why, right? Like an objective explanation. That's difficult. They don't know that there's certain, there could be change, there's something in the future we might get to know, like, hey, this is why. So he goes into all that. Now, one thing I did find, he goes into AI bit, which in this world right now, because he wrote it several years ago, it's beating his whatever predictions or thinking process works, which again goes to prove the point. Whatever the current reality is not the final reality. And whatever the future is, that's not going to be final. There's always going to be things to be known. So what he's essentially talking about is the beginning of infinity. Everything is the beginning of infinity. Whatever we know now doesn't mean it's the end of the story or end of it's settled. Whatever the science, the facts, the no knowledge is settled. It's always changing, evolving, as long as we keep open mind. And he also talks about the civilization that died usually died because they were static, because they didn't want to change. They didn't want to figure out a problem to solution, like, for example, the climate issue, right? People thinking, okay, unless we do something, the climate will not evolve, is, in his words, limited thinking. Because you got to solve the problem to expand the universe and reality, right? How people are, living and working now. You have to solve it. And there's always solutions in everything, right? So that's his theory, right? Anyway, there's a lot of information. So, I mean, like I said, it's about 460 pages long, and there's a lot of chapters, a lot of different aspects of universe essentially goes into, even including multiverse theory, which fabric of reality, I guess, goes into that. I haven't read that book. I will be reading that book. Highly, highly recommend reading the book. Perhaps maybe listening to it if, almost 500 pages. Book is hard, if it's too much to read, then that might be it. But it's amazing information, amazing in the sense it opens your mind up about getting stuck to whatever the current reality, facts, situation is. We are human beings ever evolving, right? So anyway, AI popped up the thumbs up. I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Well, I guess I know something now. I didn't know Zoom did that. Anyway, all right, highly recommend reading this. Maybe Fabric of Reality. I got to get into it. Maybe I'll review that book in the future.